Thank you so much for that question. Interestingly, we don't follow one particular ethical framework or responsible AI framework. We look into frameworks developed by multiple organizations and multiple countries. Now, that is because, every country would have a different, or every organization has a different framework. And to make it very comprehensive, we try to amalgamate all those framework together and come out with a comprehensive and holistic framework. And mostly in those framework, we look into areas like privacy, fairness, explainability, monitoring, human in the loop, attributions, and so on and so forth. So these are few elements, or these are few principles which we look into any AI framework when we try to adopt or develop any AI project. One of the most toughest thing to do is not mitigate but detect bias. So the main fundamental thing is we try to sit with subject matter expert and come out with quantitative, not quantitative KPIs where we can calculate bias. And for multiple type of use cases, we'll have different type of KPIs or metrics. Now, it also depend upon what is the threshold you would like to digest, or what's your budget. So, for example, for a couple of use cases where the sensitivity is very high, where the end consumer would get very impactful result and where the outcomes are irreversible, we try to keep bias at minimum. However, in use cases where the use case is not very sensitive, we may tolerate some kind of bias. Now, that's about detecting bias. To mitigate the bias, we have multiple options. We can actually investigate and do a post-mortem of the data and see where can we um, equally represent uh, different groups of people in order to have more discrimination-free algorithm. We have lot of tools available in the market, be it IBM, be it Microsoft, be it Google. We may try to use those tools. We may try to use algorithms which we have internally developed, which are like additive counterfactual algorithm, reweighting, adversarial debiasing, which takes out the impact of sensitive features like gender, marital status, um, number of dependent, all this from the data, and make it free of the entire sensitive attributes and try to create a non-discriminatory algorithm. At the end of the day, we always believe that if I'm male for that matter, if I'm male and have no kids, and for example, algorithms gives me a credit score of 780, what would be my credit score if I was female with kids? So, being female and with kids should not impact the decision of the model significantly. If it does, that means the model is highly impacted by other attributes, or basically by protected attributes rather than other important attributes, which talks about the merit of my financial stability. As I talked about the last question, I would give a similar answer. When you talk about making an AI model explainable, it's not about just making the model explainable. You need to explain the data which goes inside. You need to talk about why did you choose the data? What would be the impact of the data on the model? What is the model all about? Can you look in under the hood? Can you create a surrogate model, or can you create a glass box model? After that, what is the error of the model? What caused that error of the model? How does that error impact the final receiver or people at receiving end? What are the counterfactuals and everything? So the entire AI life cycle needs to be explainable, not just the model. And to do that, we start with explaining the data, what goes in, why does it goes in, what is the impact, what is the model, what is doing, why did we choose that model, why not something else, what is the error, what is causing the error, what is the impact of the error on a particular person or particular pocket of person or particular cluster of person, what are the counterfactuals, what are the remedies, and then it gets completed, and just not one part of the model. So when it comes to attack, or as we call it, adversarial attacks, we need to be very careful about it. And in order to be very careful about it, you need to have a very tight security. Now, there are two ways of doing it. You can have a very tight IT, information technology security, cyber security, or you may have your data in a way that even if it attack, it does not hamper the model, does not leak somebody's information, or it does not let the attacker know my individual information even by attacking the model or by the data. That is, the data does not reveal much about me. The best is to have a combination of both. That make sure your model and data is made in a way that if somebody attacks the model or the data, he or she is not able to identify anybody in the data. It's completely private. So even if you have a data, you'll never know that it's me. Number one. Number two, make a mechanism in a way that the attack is not possible, right? However, I always suggest that it has to be two-fold approach. That is, first make a firewall, make a system, make a cyber secret that nobody can breach. And even if some very, very, very intelligent hacker or attacker breaches the wall, the data or the information he captures would be of no use to him. The first thing, the source of the data needs to be common source. So every data which is being used for any consumption, be it dashboards or be it models or be it just some information insights, needs to be kept in a place which is highly secure, with something like a feature store, where you have all the clean data and everybody working on their data needs to only use that data, so that you have good data quality, you have good data control, and you have completely comprehensive and topical data. Number one. Number two, there should be a policy in an organization that if I, as a data scientist or product owner, use that data for some purpose, when the purpose is done, I need to delete that data. That is, I should be denied any access to the data. Third, there should be auditability, wherein I should be questioned that why do I need that data? That is data minimization. You not expose me to the entire ambit of data, but only data which are very, very important for the purpose. Next is also ensure that the data is used for which it was asked for. If I have asked for data for a particular purpose, I should be only using it for that particular purpose, not for everything else. And many more. So these are typically most important data governance policy. Right kind of human in the loop, right kind of governance, right kind of model office, and right kind of policy is required. And this will only happen when you have integrated data governance, responsible AI, ethical AI with the entire AI lifecycle. You can't say that I have a data governance policy and I have, data access policy and I have AI workflow and I have responsible AI workflow. If you have four different things, you have already lost the battle. It has to be one single thing. That is, the moment I touch the data and use it for any purpose, I would only do it using the underlying data governance policies and responsible AI policy and ethical AI policy. There is no other way out. There should not be any other option given to me that I can use the data and then I can look into data governance policy and then I can pick and choose and then I have to adopt. I cannot. It has to be one single policy across organization, across all projects, across all AI and data lifecycle. And when you holistically, and when you see everything as one rather than multiple different approaches, that is when you'll be able to solve this problem. And that is where you'll be able to solve the problem of data governance, data security, data leakage, and everything.